All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Been kind of a quiet offseason up to this point for Miami. I know a lot of people are really nervous and anxious to see what steps this franchise can take to head in the right direction. But recently, kind of lost in the hustle and bustle of the Super Bowl, the Dolphins made a really good addition to the franchise. It's going to be good for the entire organization, but more importantly, it's a great move for their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. We'll get into this news in just a second, but first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, one of the things we love talking about on this channel is teams that find value, whether it's finding draft steals, getting quality free agents for cheap, or in some cases, finding quality coaches to come in that have a great pedigree, a great background, but then have just been denigrated a little bit just because of a bad season or bad media publicity and getting him on the staff for cheap. And that's exactly what the Dolphins have done here in a way that should be phenomenal for Tua. Let's pull up this report courtesy of SI.com. Bobby Slowik will be joining the Miami Dolphins coaching staff after all. After he was fired as offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans, we mentioned him as a logical candidate to join the Dolphins. He'll be coming in as a senior passing game coordinator, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. Slowik, whose brother Ryan is DB coach for the Dolphins, spent 6 seasons as an assistant with the San Francisco 49ers, the first 5 with Mike McDaniel. Also on the coaching staff, the two also spent 3 seasons together as assistants with Washington from 2011 to 2013. Look, I think Slowik gets a bad rap for how things ended in Houston. I think a lot of that was talent, and the Texans honestly wanted a scapegoat. And we'll break down, or at least I will break down exactly why that was a poor decision by the Texans. But the Houston Texans screwing up Miami's opportunity here. This is a great move for the Dolphins. And Miles, I know you got a few thoughts on this, but first, Miami fans in the comment section below. We think they've done a pretty good job with some moves from the coaching staff. I know some of you guys aren't real high on Mike McDaniel. We get it. But let's focus on the players and the roster. What position group do you think the Miami Dolphins really need to upgrade this offseason? Whether it's free agency or draft, let us know in the comments section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest update out of Miami?
Yeah, Nick, when I think bringing Bobby Slowik over to this staff, what I get the vibe is consistency and reinforcement. Being able to have a guy on the staff that has been so intertwined in the same offensive ideas and schemes that Mike McDaniel has been taught his entire career, I think is going to be really big for this staff going forward as far as game planning, doing things like that, making sure they don't get too cute, making sure they have solid game plans. I think Slowik is a guy they can have ideas bounced off of him and is a really solid choice. And I really love these opportunities. We see it happen all the time. Like Matt Eberflus, head coach, he gets fired, comes back to a team in a lesser designation the following year. Seems like a really good piece here. Then he gets picked up for a bigger role later on down the stretch. I think that's exactly what happens here with a guy like Bobby Slowik. Gets fired as offensive coordinator, comes back to the team in Miami in a lower designation, but he's going to be really valuable, and I expect him to go on and see bigger and better positions because of it after this. But I think this is a solid hire just because Mike McDaniel, like you said, he's been up and down in his ability to coach this team. I think there's a lot on his plate, and bringing in another big offensive mind and a guy like Slowik, who, as the article says, they've been intertwined throughout their entire careers together, all have the same basic principles, all come from that Mike Shanahan scheme in San Francisco. It's going to be super valuable for him to have this guy here. I think it frees up some time. I think it helps him be able to focus on what he needs to focus on, having a guy that knows exactly what page he's going to be on while he's worrying about being the head coach. This just seems like a no-brainer move. Nothing, super flashy, super crazy out of the Dolphins here. I think this is just a really good, small, smart, old-fashioned X's and O's football move to reinforce the decisions being made on this team. I don't think you can possibly go wrong with this hire by the Dolphins.
No, especially when you consider the fact that Slowik, if you go back 12 months, was considered a hot head coaching candidate, one of the smartest guys in football. He didn't forget how to coach. He just was put in a tough situation due to some injuries and was wrongly blamed and scapegoated for the Houston Texans' problems. Here's where it's interesting. So in 2023, the Houston Texans, according to PFF, had the 19th best offensive line pass blocking grade, so a little bit below average. They scored 432 points, won 11 games if you count their playoff victory. Their defense surrendered 401 points, okay? 2024, 21st pass block grade according to PFF, so slight dip. They scored 418 points, won 11 games. The defense surrendered 407 points. So the defense essentially got the same, a little bit worse. Offensive line, roughly the same, a little bit worse. Offensive production, win-loss, still about the same. What does that mean? It means Slowik didn't have a bad coaching environment. It means the talent around him, the front office, the head coach of the Houston Texans, nothing against DeMeco Ryans, but the reality is they didn't make their roster better. They won 11 games and scored, 432 points. And they said, okay, we are happy with the way things are. They made some moves, injuries took them out, and they basically finished exactly the same points record wise. And for whatever reason, the Houston Texans, who in 2023 were like, Slowik's a genius. And in 2024, they're like, suddenly he's an idiot. That's not how it works. He was scapegoated. It happens in all walks of life, football, business. Sometimes a head coach, GM, they're looking for some guy because their boss or their boss's boss wants some head on a stick. And they said, all right, listen, Slowik, you're out of here. You drew the short straw. We're going to blame you. I think this is a great pickup for the Miami Dolphins because actually, if you consider what Slowik was able to do with CJ Stroud his rookie year in 2023, you go back to that season, Stroud finished 7th in the 12th, excuse me, in the NFL according to PFF. Tua Tagovailoa that year finished 7th, right? And people forget because obviously the injuries, concussion. Healthy Tua is a top 5, top 8 quarterback in the National Football League, right? There's been injury concerns and there's questions about big game performance, both extremely valid. But when he's healthy and if things are cooking, there may not be anyone better in Miami. The Dolphins just need another piece or two to really help that offensive line and add some depth on defense. And Slowik, I think, with his background, his high-level intelligence, high-level football IQ, his relationship with Mike McDaniel, he can help Tua take that next step. He can help this passing offense take that next step, tweak out some minor things. Again, we're not looking for drastic changes here, just a little bit of improvement plus some good roster moves. And this Miami Dolphins team could make a lot of noise in 2025. The Buffalo Bills, they're good. We all know they're on the decline, right? We look at a team like the Patriots, they're an up-and-comer, maybe, but their roster is absolutely terrible, okay? And the New York Jets, they're the Jets until they're the Jets no more, right? This is a team, the Miami Dolphins, that is in a great position to win that division and make a serious run next season. This is a great hire to help secure Tua, secure that passing offense. They just need to go out and make some good moves free agency-wise. They got some cap situation things to settle out. But so far, so good this offseason for Miami.